Well, let's get kicking off here. We're not going to wait for anybody. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Captions versus Comments, where to put your hashtags, a burning question we all want to know. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rev. If you don't know me, I have more than 2 decades of experience in marketing, branding, and digital strategy. I specialize in hospitality marketing, content, local SEO, and I'm on something called Instagram. I'm also a former New York City bar owner, and I will be your moderator today. So joining me is Patao-Coffield. I'm sure you guys all know her. She is the founder of Foodie Tribe. Hi, Katie. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here with Rev. For those of you who I have not been able to speak to yet, like Rev mentioned, I'm the founder of Foodie Tribe, and really excited to kick off this webinar and give you the answer that I think many of us have been anticipating.
Awesome. All right, Katie. So with that, can you kick it off for us, please?
Yes. All right. So taking a step back and just giving you guys a quick overview about us and about Foodie Tribe and what we truly believe in. We're all about authenticity, right? As we all know, I think many of us here, right, as seeing as that we're all Foodie Tribe members, have strong Instagram accounts. And something that's really important, especially as the community gets very saturated with more and more people joining every single day, is ensuring that you're being creative, authentic, word of mouth. And that's really our mission here, is ensuring that we're taking the lead in shaping the world of influencer marketing, hence why we've decided to put together this hashtag experiment for you all, and have a few of the tribe members kind of put to test and come up with this answer. Where should we place our hashtag to receive the most engagement? So that leads us to essentially the next slide, right? Which is exactly that. This all started with one question, a conversation that Rev and I had alongside Dara, another team member of ours that's on the line today. And essentially is, where should we place our hashtag to receive the most engagement? Is it within the actual body of our caption? Is that going to garner us the most engagement? Or should we go ahead and upload that as a separate comment?
All right, Katie, I'm going to pause you real quick there. You did hit record, right?
Yes, I did.
All right.
So yeah, so essentially this is what we're looking at, right? And this is what we're going to dive into and get into the nitty gritty, some numbers, some rules that we followed. But essentially we're going to be taking a look at whether or not you should be placing your hashtags within the actual body of your post or as a separate comment to receive the highest number of engagements. Passing it over to Rev to start the story.
So I was looking to optimize my own content, be it for growth, engagement, impressions, whatever I was going for. This was earlier this year. And I started running week-over-week tests, followed then by performance analysis. And at that time, as I was trying to figure out how to grow my engagement, my followers, my growth, my impressions, I started talking to some other marketers, some influencers, about ways that you can achieve a higher performance with your content. And one of the things that people had really, really strong opinions on was where to put hashtags in the captions or the comments. And everybody had an opinion, but nobody really had any analytical proof over which one worked. Everybody had something that they thought, but no, like, oh, I read this here, or I saw this thing, or I did this test. And so, like I said, I ran about 6 weeks of tests looking every possible metric I could measure. I was looking at the day of the week, what happened after 1 hour of performance, my comments, my forwards, my saves. You can see here on the screen, this is a screenshot of like about 2 weeks worth of content and what I was measuring. And as I did this, I noticed one really specific thing, that if I put the hashtags in the comments, I got different results than if I put the hashtags in the caption. So I then suggested to Katie that we maybe invite other people to join us on the test that we could then analyze and then share the results with everybody. So Katie and Dara sort of asked around, and it just seemed to be a universal question: which was better? Nobody really knew. Hashtags in the captions or in the comments. And that is exactly how the Foodie Tribe hashtag experiment came to be.
So then we were like, okay, let's do this. Let's send out an email. Let's see who's interested. Obviously, we had to take into consideration that we had several different accounts ranging from all different sizes, all different engagements. People post at different times of the day. Maybe don't post on Monday. They post only on Friday. So we had to get together and put together some specific rules and guidelines so that this controlled group was following the same strict rules throughout the entire 2 weeks that we were performing the experiment.
Cool. So first one of our guidelines is that we were going to run the test over the course of 2 weeks. So in the first week, everybody that was participating was going to put all their hashtags in the body of the post, And in week 2, all of their hashtags would go in the comments, right? So captions week 1, comments week 2. A couple of the rules that we established was during hashtags as comments week, hashtags had to be posted as a comment within 60 seconds of the post going live. There were some rumors out there that if you post them differently or if you change them, it doesn't work, yada, yada. So we made it a rule that the hashtags had to go live in the comments within 60 seconds of the post being posted. Also, we had to wait at least 3 days before logging the results. That way, all the content had the ability to live to its full engagement potential, right? Some other rules. No major changes during the experiment. So for somebody who posted once a day, they had to continue to post once a day. Excuse me. And typically, if somebody was posting at the same time of day, they had to continue to post at that same time of day. So I'm a morning poster, had to post during the morning. And the last rule, which was super important, was not to change your content type. So if you were typically posting food photos, you had to continue to do food photos. You couldn't then switch to drink photos or lifestyle or food selfies or whatever. You had to maintain some level of similarity in your posts. Now, the metrics we wanted to measure were day of the week, likes, comments, forwards, saves, impressions, and impressions from hashtags. And we had everybody report on these metrics to us. So that was all the things we looked at.
All right, so here we go. So then after putting all of that together, deciding the rules, setting out the guidelines to the tribe and the members that were going to be participating in the experiment, we were like, okay, so what's going to be the answer? Is it going to be hashtags within the post? Is it going to be hashtags as a separate comment? Or is the algorithm different for everyone? If we go to the next slide, we'll see some of the shots of some of the content that was uploaded throughout the experiment. Obviously, we had a lot more content. We just had to do a couple of screenshots here. So let's dive into the results and the control group that we went ahead and did this experiment with. So we ended up working with 15 of our Foodie Tribe members. These members have had everywhere from 5,000 followers to over 80,000 followers. And like we mentioned previously, everybody had different engagement rates, right? So again, we just made sure that everybody followed the guidelines and the rules and regulations that we set forth for the experiment.
All right, so with that, let's get into what the actual results look like. So this is a screenshot of some of the analysis that we did. And if you're looking at the screen, you can start to get a clue of where the answer is lying here. We were not surprised and also surprised at the same time. So first result, and this is the one everybody's waiting for, 53% of the time, hashtags in the comments resulted in higher impressions. Meaning that if somebody put their hashtags in the comment, not the caption, 2 out of every other time, hashtags resulted in higher impressions on the post. More results. If you looked at overall performance metrics, results were literally all over the place. We'll go back to that slide real quick. You can see it was kind of all over the place. But this proved what we believe to be true, is that the algorithm is incredibly personalized for every single person on Instagram, meaning you're going to get different results no matter what you do, okay? Now, another result we saw, when it came to engagement metrics like likes, comments, forwards, and saves, it was almost a 50-50 split with hashtags in the comments slightly winning for showing higher results, meaning that if you were measuring likes or comments or forwards or saves versus likes, comments, forwards, and saves on captions versus comments posts performed better on engagement metrics. Okay, does that make sense? I know that one was a little confusing when you went through it originally.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, so again, if you're measuring your performance based on those metrics, comments was the winner, right? Mm-hmm. Slightly. Some other things that we learned outside of captions versus comments, we learned that 40% of the time, saves correlated with higher impressions. So again, if you're looking at likes versus comments versus forwards versus saves, saves was the engagement that resulted in higher impressions for 40% of the time. So 2 out of 5 times, a post where there was higher saves had higher impressions, okay? Following that then was 20% of the time, likes correlated with higher impressions. So 1 out of 5 times. Now, I don't think that's a big number. I think that's a small number. But to prove the point here, right, 46% of the time, it was inconclusive, meaning it didn't matter almost half of the time whether you got more likes, more saves, more forwards, or more comments, how that results in impressions and set for a little bit higher with saves. Okay, so in summation, Katie.
Yeah, so to sum it up, impressions are crucial, especially, for those folks that have worked on campaigns with us. We're huge sticklers for, understanding impressions on all of the content in your campaigns. And I think that that's something that we've just really understood with this hashtag experiment, that, impressions were just that much higher when you went ahead and placed those hashtags within a comment versus a post.
Right. So, in case you didn't get that, comments beats captions 2-1. Right. So if you're looking for where to put your hashtags, if impressions is the metric you're concerned with, and as a brand, that's what we're concerned with, right? Comments is the way to go. The experiment results that we saw is you're getting 2-1 more impressions by putting the hashtags in your comments. Now, we realized for sure that there wasn't a lot of control in this experiment, right? But having control in a situation like this is next to impossible. Even if everybody that participated posted the same photo at the same time with the same hashtags, geotagging the same location with the same comments, we all have different audiences, right? And so there'd be no way to actually measure from a really, really scientific, analytical perspective without having AI examining a very large gradient of similar looking accounts. But we believe in this small experiment, we learned enough to help us all boost our engagement if impressions is what we're concerned with. Now, this is the real fun part. We have a bonus. After analyzing all this data, just looking for that clue, captions versus comments, we realized there was actually more to learn.
So now, for those of us that, again, have worked on some projects and things, when you're looking within your insights, something that I think is always crucial to look at and something that we've noticed also within this experiment is taking a look at the number of saves, right? So beyond just looking at impressions, looking at saves, that really shows much higher intent. We believe when we're looking at impressions and saves being that, okay, somebody saved something, that means they're actually thinking about visiting that restaurant later, or they're going to purchase that product to go ahead and replicate the recipe. So this is, for us, truly the winning combo is taking a look at the impressions and the saves within the content.
Yeah, it's a leading indicator of somebody's intent, right? It's easy to like something. It shows you might take an action if you're going to save it. One more learning that we got out of this, something that I personally noticed, when I put my hashtags in the captions, it resulted in higher follower growth, right? But when I put the hashtags in the comments, it resulted in higher impressions. Now, I don't know why that is, but I tested it over a couple weeks, and for sure it was the case. The minute I moved the hashtag, the results changed. Now, as I'm more focused on impressions, much like we are Foodie Tribe, I'm now placing my hashtags in my comments because you can see here on the screen, I'm getting better impressions by placing them there, right? Impressions are important.
All right. So now the question is, what should you do?
Katie, I think the answer is obvious here. Anybody that's curious to know the results, you should run a test yourself, right? Be brave, be bold, go out on a limb and try something. For sure, we had signed up more tribe members than participated here, and a lot of people dropped off in the middle because their engagement dropped, they had a sponsored post, they didn't want to fail somebody, and for sure that's going to happen. And, a couple of us had some posts in there that really didn't perform to our liking, but we stuck with it. And if you want to know truly which engagements and which metrics and which actions are going to benefit your goals, you've got to run a test yourself. Find out for yourself. After all, we've proven everyone has their own algorithm. You should just own your own.
All right, great. So before we kind of move into this slide, I want to make sure we're wrapping it up now. So if you all have any questions, please go ahead and head over to the chat, plug them in there. We'll go ahead and work on answering those in the time that we have left. And as those are coming in, if there are any questions, I do want to make a formal announcement to those on the line. We did send out an email not too long ago, but we are officially announcing our Grow Your Influence seminar that we will be hosting in Miami, Florida, October 3rd, 2019. The goal is to hit other cities because I know that's always the first question that we receive. But wanted to invite everybody. There's going to be more information in the wrap-up email that I'll be sending over after the seminar. After the webinar, which will include some information and also even a couple of notes for you to chime in on some topics that you'd like us to talk about while we're there. Does anyone have any questions? I know that, this is a lot to take in. If there aren't any immediate questions, that's my direct email that you can reach out to myself. We'll pull in Rev if we want to do that as well. But really excited to have hosted this with Rev. He is like stellar. I mean, I'm sure that if for those of you on the line have either heard of him or have seen his content. So thank you, Rev, again.
It is my pleasure and my honor. And again, when I posed this question to you, I was really trying to help myself, but thought maybe everybody could benefit from this. So doesn't look like really any questions are coming in. Everybody probably wanted to have one thing answered, and we got that. The comments outperform captions when it comes to impressions. All right, so if anybody who has any questions afterwards, you can email Katie, info@foodietribe.org. We're both obviously on Instagram. I'm at RevCiencio, Katie's at Foodie Tribe. If you have any questions, you're welcome to hit us up. We do questions just came in. Clearly, always use hashtags. Pardon me if I pronounce this wrong, is it Mariv? Always use hashtags. I believe that we didn't test hashtags versus no hashtags. That's probably a really good test for us to run. But from what I understand and what I've read out there, you should always use hashtags for two reasons. The reasons I've been told to use them is A, it helps you hit the explore page. I know the big coveted explore page, everybody will have to get to it. You're kind of not going to hit it without that. But more about a historical. So I'm going to give you a story. I did a blog post last year categorizing all 21 types of fries. Yes, there are 21 types of French fries. And I needed to go find images that corresponded to things like smiley fries, which, by the way, are my least favorite type of fries. And the only way I was able to find them was looking up the hashtag smiler fries. So hashtags are a great way for people to search for content later. And with the growing amount of media out there and attention that's happening to Instagram, being able to find content that's relevant because of the hashtag, super, super important. So I would say it's best practices to always use your hashtags. Katie, I don't know if you feel differently or have something to add to that.
No, I'm with you 100% on that. And I think that hashtags, no matter what, will always help with discovery. People are not going to find you or fall upon your content that easily unless we're pushing some hashtags.
Cool. We have a question here from Henry, who I also assume is Hank, who owns Hank's Juicy Beef, where I ordered lunch today. It was very delicious. Not knowing he was being here. Asking, do you think Insta changed the algorithm about a month ago? I think that the Instagram algorithm changes like daily, and it sort of updates whenever they feel like they're going to update it. But I do believe that there was a major update earlier this year. I for sure felt the impact. That's actually what spurred me wanting to go and discover this stuff, because every time the algorithm changes, I look at it as an opportunity to learn. So I do believe that there was a major change that happened this year, but I believe the algorithm changes almost daily. Katie, any thoughts there?
No, I agree with you there. I mean, I know that a lot of us get frustrated when we feel content isn't performing as well as it should be. And like Rev mentioned, there was a couple of folks that during the experiment felt like they needed to bow down because they did things a certain way and then engagement dropped all of a sudden. Honestly, I think it's almost like a game. You just kind of, like Rev mentioned, you just got to play around with it. These things, this experiment, for example, you can run on your page in the next couple of weeks and then maybe do it again, in a couple of months, and it could be different for you. I think it's just ensuring that something that we always talk about is just ensuring that you're constantly putting out content that's authentic to yourself, to your brand, and to the partners that you're working on collaborations with.
Cool. You want me to keep taking these, or is there one you want to take?
Sure. Let's see. There's a couple more that have come in. Okay. Is there a benefit to using the same hashtag consistently? How many are too much? So it kind of depends. Like, for example, I know that a lot of us, and especially a lot of the influencers within the tribe, have their own particular hashtag that they use that's specific to their own brand. I think that's great. I think that always helps with discovery. I think as far as the number of hashtags, honestly, Rev, you can chime in on here too. I have a few takes on this. I know some people that will go to like the 30, hashtags that you can, use without being like super crazy spam looking. We tend to do that sometimes on certain pieces of content. I think as long as you're getting your point across, you may not need the 30. I don't know what your thoughts are on the number of hashtags. Do you agree or you have a different stance?
I haven't tested different amounts. I did come up with a slightly different formula though. Let's answer that a couple ways. I have been told and have experienced where using the same hashtags over and over and over is seen by the algorithm as spam. So as a best practice, I change mine post to post a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that branded hashtags are important. I just put mine in the chat there, but I don't use it on every post because I'm afraid of being looked at as spam.
Right.
But I do think there's benefit to using hashtags categorically and historically. So, if you have your own branded hashtag you're using that corresponds to a particular type of content that you're posting, like, you do it. Today I learned saying every Wednesday, hashtag TIL, AJ Wednesdays. And yeah, I would say that that's a good one to use. Again, that's about people finding you. So how many are too much? I use 30. I've read a ton of blog posts and listened to a ton of podcasts where people are saying they give you 30, you might as well use all 30. What I have seen, I know that there was a hack for a while where you could put 60, and they turned it off, and then I think somebody figured out how to do it again. I stopped doing that because I think it looks hacky.
Right.
And there was some reporting out there that Instagram didn't look favorably upon it.
Okay. You want to take the next one? Terry?
Have you run any tests on specific hashtags to use? I actually have, and I had to use software to do that. So it was a little difficult to tag because there's so many hashtags that either I'm using or are available out there. I used a combination of Instagram analytics, the preview app, and later, and I ran a massive 1 month long hashtag analysis. And through that, I learned what my top 10 were, and so I sort of cycled them into appropriate content. So that was very beneficial for me. I would tell everybody to go check out later and to go check out preview. You do have to pay for those services. I signed into them for 2 months, used them and signed out, but they were for sure helpful in me figuring out what I wanted to do.
Okay. I think we answered also Houston Eatery's question in regards to how many hashtags to use and just ensuring that you're switching things up, a few of those hashtags up so that it doesn't seem extremely spammy. I don't know, it's not even a word, but I really like to use it. Another question from AJ, are hashtag cities better than hashtag food porn, etc.? For Foodie Tribe, personally, we use a combination of both. So we do more often than not use the 30 limit. Obviously, I'm sure as you guys I'm sure you all follow us on Instagram. We highlight, essentially it's a portfolio of all of you guys, all of the content that you all produce. So we mark them per city and we always hashtag the city that we're featuring along with some other hashtags that are a little bit larger so that we ensure that we either we get featured on the Explore page or it's just easier for discoverability. Rev, I don't know if you have anything on that one.
Yeah, for sure. So our hashtag city is better than hashtag food porn, etc. For sure, if you are trying to have influence or reach a local audience.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, a number of my posts are about restaurants in North Jersey or New York City. So I want people in those areas who are looking for content like mine or recommendations that I might give. I use those hashtags to do that. So if your content is not valuable at the local level, then I would say hashtag cities really aren't valuable to you. Like if you're doing recipe posts, maybe it's not so valuable. But if you're trying to make restaurant recommendations, then yeah, I would say they're incredibly valuable. So the answer is yes, but it varies based on your goals and
your content. Great.
Sure. All right. Well, we got time for one more question here. If anybody else has a question, and if not, we'll we'll wrap
We have
this
one
up.
more question. Houston Eatery sent it to me privately. The question is, using presets are so much cleaner, but seems like they work best for non-foodie posts. What are your thoughts on using presets for consistency for food-related pages?
What is a preset?
Like image preset. So if you're working like on a Lightroom or a Photoshop or that kind of thing, I know a lot of people, like for example, if you look at the fashion industry and all of those bloggers and influencers that are creating content, they all have a preset. Now, when it comes to food, I think you need to be careful. You don't want to like overexpose something that maybe shouldn't be overexposed, or have the dish or the recipe that you're creating just not look right. I think it really just kind of depends on the preset and the app that you're using, and just ensuring that it looks normal.
That's a great question, and that's a great answer, Katie. I use a preset for food. It's not a total preset. There's some variance in it, but that's because I found a style that's uniquely mine, or that I believe is uniquely mine. So I want my photos to have a similar look, so you can kind of go, oh, that's a Rev burger. I've seen that. But that ties into the goal that I'm looking for. If stylized photos and the thematic stylized photos is not your goal, then I would say presets aren't really that important, right? It's about what you're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to take this last question here. AJ asking lots of good ones today, and then we're going to let everybody get back to their day. He's asking, is it important to change the picture all the time, or is it okay to brand a picture? I'm not exactly sure what that means, but my general take on content is people sort of devour it in the moment, and then you kind of disappear until you put something up again. But it does matter, I think, when people go to your Instagram profile and look at what you're doing. And if they just see either the same type of content all the time, like if you're a pizza restaurant, it's just like pizza, 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 pizza. You haven't set yourself different from other pizzerias. There's nothing interesting there. So you want to make sure that your profile page represents not only your business accurately, but how you want your business to be perceived, and how customers perceive your business. Now, I know I spoke about that specifically from a restaurant perspective because AJ is a restaurant, but I would say that to anybody who has a profile. Like, make sure that when people go to your profile, and the grid of 9 represents your content appropriately, because that's the first time somebody's going to walk through your front door, and that's your moment to grab them. Awesome. So yes, I would change. I would upload different content as long as it was on brand.
Great. Well, I think that's
awesome.
it.
Well, yeah, thank you everybody for joining today. We really, really appreciate you attending the webinar, Captions versus Comment, where to put your hashtags. Hopefully now you have some clues that can help you get higher impressions, higher engagement, maybe some higher growth. Really, really appreciate it. If you do have any questions, you can follow up afterwards. Just drop Katie an email, info@foodietribe.org. Everybody, have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.